everyone. I hope everyone's day is going well. And I am your host, ArchMage12. We're going to be working on our stretches today. I'm going to take you through an entire series of stretches that I do every day, whether at the start or the finish. So what you want to do is you want to start by, um, spreading your legs out a little bit more than shoulder width. And then what I usually do is I start doing some circles with my hips, alternating direction. Make sure you breathe. You want to, as you're stretching and, releasing all the tension in the areas in your hips or wherever you're stretching, you want to make sure you're bringing in oxygen into your lungs. So that way, your body can really hit the healing process. You can use your hands on your back as leverage to really dig into those stretches in the hip circles and just really just dig into it and make sure you're opening up those hips. Next, what you want to do is you want to find your neutral position. You'll bring your feet together, point your toes outward, and then what you're going to want to do after that is turn your heels outward to meet your toes. I usually start by doing some palm presses. I raise my hands above my head. Then I bring my palms inward and downward, really establishing my center line in the neutral position. This is very important before you start doing other stretches from beginner to intermediate. Find that center line by doing those palm presses above your head and bringing them down to your center of your chest. Next, I start going into some neck rolls, alternating direction. Usually I like to inhale in one direction and exhale in the other direction. Do this for as long as you like. I like to really do this for a long time to open up those tense neck muscles. I tend to look at computer screens a lot on a daily basis, so I really need those neck muscles opened up. We're going to do some circles with our shoulders in a circular motion vertically, and you can alternate direction. Again, a good idea is to inhale in one direction and then switch up the direction and exhale in the other. This is really good for loosening up those tense shoulders and then also the upper back muscles too. Then you're going to want to tilt your head back. And you can't really see it here, so I apologize, but when I'm tilting my head back, I have my mouth open to really release the jaw muscle so that way my neck can get a really good stretch. And always double up on your stretches. You're going to see me do that a lot. Now you can start this in neutral position, but then you want to spread your legs and get some hip twists in with some distance in between both feet. This increases the intensity of the stretch. Now coming back to neutral position, you want to also give yourself some time to orient yourself in the right up position. So just stand in neutral for a couple of beats. Now what you'll want to do is you'll want to rock your head forward. And so what this is going to do, this is going to release the tension right at that upper back where it meets the neck, where the spine is, meeting the neck, that upper spinal cord area that leads into the neck. Then you want to slowly rock forward, leading with your forehead. And then that will bring the stretch a little bit to your mid back, into your trapezius muscles. And this is very key. You want to hold this position for as long as it is comfortable, as long as you can bear. For people who have that back pain, that neck pain right at the top, the base of the spine, this is really gonna pull that. So if you experience any pain, you might want to start, maybe doing it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, not too much. And again, leading with your head, you want to pull yourself over, and then just little by little pull over into a forward stretch. That's where we're headed with this one. We're going to go into that base forward stretch but we're going to work our way there. And as you can see me pointing, that's the area that gets stretched. That's the area that's going to get that release, that attention. And you can oscillate back and forth, but as long as you just do it in steps. See, I haven't really gone down into the forward stretch yet because I'm really trying to target that base spine area. That leads right into the neck, and where the neck and the back meet. And let your arms droop, leave your forehead, and we're going to come into that forward stretch. Your legs don't have to be locked. It's very important in this forward stretch. This is a very foundational stretch. You don't want to lock your knees. You want to feel the stretch in your hamstrings when you're at this point. If you can't touch the ground, go down as far as you can. I've been doing stretching for a very long time, so I can stretch as far down as I can touch the floor. Come out of it. This is a foundational stretch. I'm going to be doing this often, so you'll see me do this in between other stretches. It's very good for alignment all the way down into your hamstrings, into your calves. Give yourself some neck rolls in between major stretches also, just to make sure you're not pulling things out of alignment when you do other stretches. This is the forward stretch, neck rolls, hip twists, and doing circular motions with your hips it's very foundational. So here I am returning back up into that forward head lean, into the forward stretch to the floor. Let your arms droop. Lead with the head. Don't lock the knees. Feel the stretch in the hamstrings, the glutes, and then you'll also feel it in your lower back at this point. If you can clearly see, you should be feeling that in your lower back. If you can't go to the floor, just droop your arms to your knees and come back up and repeat. If you are advanced, you can see you can grab the back of your ankles here to really pull yourself into that stretch. Now we're going to do a squat, but we're going to meet our palms together and then really push out with our elbows into our knees to really push the inner thighs out to really give that a stretch. We're going to go from side to side to really accent the stretch on the inner thighs on both sides exclusively, or almost exclusively, while also giving you a stretch on the inner thigh and hamstrings on the opposite leg. And you can leverage the knees, the elbows into the knees to really push out and maintain posture as you do this. This is very important to maintain posture as much as possible. So here I'm really deep into it. I'm back into center, meeting my palms like I'm praying, pushing my elbows into my knees to push the knees outward, and then also doing the opposing stretch in the opposite direction by pushing my hands into my lower back and leaning back from the top. I'm back into neutral again. Again, I'll emphasize, you always want to come back into your neutral stance and then just orient yourself, feel the oxygen go into those muscles that you've loosened up and you've opened up for that blood flow. See? You want your feet under your shoulders. That is what's considered neutral. And you want to do it like how I just did. Bring the feet together, point the toes out, then move the heels to meet the toes. Rock that forehead forward. Don't do the full lean into the forward stretch. You just want that forehead to hang and pull the upper back. And then you follow through. Picture your body like a slinky. You are a slinky, and then the first part of the slinky to go down that first step is your forehead. If you can muster, when you reach the ground, grab the backs of your ankles to really, really, really pull into that stretch. As you come up, stretch in the opposite direction. You can leverage your fists into your lower back as you want to extend the core forward, and then the head and the upper torso moves backwards to really stretch in the other direction. So, or it's a compression really. And now we're going to go into almost like a side lunge. Not really doing yoga. It's almost like a modified front stance, but I'm pretty sure this has a name in yoga. I just don't know what it is. So you want to put your arms out to level, so really maintain your balance, and just slightly lunge with one leg and extend the other leg back behind you. Make sure you're straight. And orienting your arms like this is going to help you maintain proper posture and balance. And so you just want to bring up your back arm and reach over. Make sure your back with regard to your hips are straight. And then also on the line created by your feet and your legs. Make sure everything is on the same line as much as possible. And you can't see it here, but I'm using the hand that's down, leveraging that against that inner part of the foot to maintain proper balance across the two legs, that line that we're creating between the 2 feet. You'll see it a little bit better here from this angle. Kind of just lunge out, use the arms for balance, and also as a reference for posture. Lunge over. See, you want to make sure your sides and everything is on that line, on that leg, and then also the back leg is lined up as well with the back side. So that hand that's down, I'm using that as a wedge or an anchor or a reference to make sure that I have the posture correct. You can apply a little bit of pressure on the back of that hand into that arch of that foot for stability. And you just hold it for as long as you can. But now I'm going back into this deep lunge. It's almost like a horse stance. If anyone knows martial arts, this is almost like a horse stance. Just that we're going to put our palms together and push out with our elbows. Do that again. This stretch is very key. This stretch is a good reference to make sure that you're doing your stretches on both sides. For a kind of stretch that targets one side exclusively, this stretch makes sure that you maintain equilibrium. So it's a good idea to come back to this stretch in between stretches that target a specific side or a specific area, and then to also come back to that front neutral stretch. Some people might identify this as like a closer to the Russian stretch, the Russian side lunge, or like the Cossack lunge, or whatever they call it. All right, so now we're going to go into our butterfly stretch or butterfly pose. Anyone who's been in Taekwondo or karate can recognize this. I think in yoga they call this like a quarter lotus or something like that. I'm not sure. Correct me in the comments if if I'm wrong. And so what you want to do is you want to grab your feet and then just move your knees up and down so that way you can really target those inner thigh muscles. You want to really wake those up, and that's what that's doing here. And also it's waking up your lower back muscles too, and then your glutes as well. But mostly this focuses on inner thigh, a little bit of your lower sides to get your core nice and open in those deep spaces that really don't see a lot of stretching because they're used to like walk and stuff like that. So those areas tend to get tensed up. So you really want to stretch your inner thighs out as much as possible. It's very key. And I usually, for this stretch, this is usually one of my longer poses I hold, mainly because the inner thigh is such a tight area that you want to make sure that you get it nice and warmed up and then nice and stretched. You can, for argument's sake, you could say this pose is not really a stretch. It's really like kind of like warming up the muscles. It is stretching it to a degree. You'll see later that I do some actual stretches in this pose. But for the most part, you want to spend a lot of time just doing exactly as you see that I'm doing right here, just warming up and waking up those muscles. It's very important, I'll note, to make sure that the line that your feet create when you bring them together is centered with that groin area and then all the way up to through your middle of your chest and then all the way to your chin. You don't want the point where the feet to come together to be off to one side. If you see that, that might be a sign that you have an imbalance, just from over the years of how we tend to be more right-sided or left-sided or whatever, or through injury. You'll want to pay attention to that because that means you have an imbalance to work through. Make sure your back is straight. You don't want to be hunched too far back or too far forward. You want to make sure when you're doing this pose and doing this stretch that you're as upright as possible. Putting your hands behind you like how you see here helps you get to that level. So if you're doing this and you really can't bring your knees down as far as you see me do it here, or you're hunching forward, or you're cranking your upper body backwards, put your hands behind both your glutes or your thighs, and just and then press into the ground and lift yourself up and hold like that. You'll feel your lower back stretch, you'll feel your inner thigh stretch, and you'll feel your side stretch as well. And if you feel you need a break, also put your hands behind like how you saw it up, how you saw me do, to really um, just give yourself some time to breathe while holding the pose, especially if you feel pain. Just stop, give yourself a breather, sit back on your hands in the pose, and breathe, bring some oxygen into those muscles. So as you do this, you'll want to start leaning forward with the back as straight as possible. Um, you'll want to lean forward to really press into that inner thigh. When you lean forward, you'll feel your lower back stretch a lot, and that's a very good thing for a lot of people, especially if you're a corporate worker like myself. You sit down in office chairs all day, and you're glued to the screen and the keyboard. That stretch is really going to hit home. And then you can also alternate hands. You see how here I'm holding my feet with one hand and the other one's on my thigh? That hand on that thigh is pushing down on that leg. And it's important to push down at the thigh, not the knees, because you don't want to damage your knees. So once you are comfortable, you can really sit in that pose for a while and everything's opened up and warmed, you can start alternating sides like that. And these are the modifications that I was telling you that we can do that actually stretches those inner thigh muscles and lower back muscles. Again, holding with my left hand, pushing down on that right leg with that right hand at the thigh point. And here, I'm holding my feet with both hands, but I'm pushing into the thighs with my elbows. That also helps as well. So now we're going to move into some ground side stretches. These are some of my favorite stretches. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to put one leg out and then put the bottom of one foot on your other leg at the inside of the other leg. Do not put your foot above your knee. That's wrong. You want your foot that's folded in at the knee or above. So that's the area where you can place that foot on the leg that is folded down like that. Uh, and the difference is beginners should put the foot closer to the body, and then as you excel and you can stretch a little bit more and more and more, and you get more proficient, you can move the foot down the leg towards the knee, not going beyond the knee, and that'll give you more of a stretch. The closer you are to the knee with that other foot, that's how far you'll get much more of a stretch, much more of a deeper stretch. And so you'll want to start just in a regular seated position too. So once your feet are oriented, just sit there, one hand on the other leg, and then one hand, you see my right hand on that right leg. I'm using that as leverage to pull myself into the stretch. Make sure you're nice and aligned with that line created with the foot that meets the other leg. There's a line there if you can visualize it. Make sure your center line on your chest and your chin is lined up. Make sure that knee for the extended leg is pointing upward. You don't want your knee to roll out or in, because that messes up the stretch. Now, when you're nice and warmed up in the neutral position in this stretch, which is just you being upright with a straight back, now you can start using both those legs for leverage. So with that left hand, you can either move it on the ankle or on the top of the foot, depending on how proficient you are. Only do as much as you're able to. If you're not able to, stretch as far forward as you see me in this video, bring it back. Bring the left hand, to the ankle, or just leave it on the knee. And then that right hand, you can place it like on the calf or the shin, closer to where the knee is. And as you go along and you get more proficient, you can move your hands up each leg to pull yourself into that stretch. You're pulling yourself toward the stretched foot. And that's the goal. So you see here, when you get more advanced, you can now take that left hand and the right hand and climb up the leg, maintaining posture. Eventually terminating at the foot. If you can stretch that far, you can grab onto the foot. That might take you a while. For the advanced people who are more advanced in their flexibility, you'll be able to grab the foot like I can. Keeping the back straight, leading with the chin. And always in between stretches, give yourself a break, take a breather, really bring some oxygen in that neutral pose. What you do on one side, you got to do to the other. So I'm going to do the same thing with the left foot extended and the right leg folded in. And I'll reiterate, it's a good habit for when you get into a pose to do a stretch. You always sit upright and at neutral for a good 30 seconds to a minute before you start pulling yourself into the stretch. It's important to give your muscles time to flex and then bring blood. You're not aware of this, but your body internally is requesting oxygen and blood flow there, and it needs time to process that. So always give yourself time before going directly into the deep part of each stretch that is from a particular pose. So this is my left foot extended, and I'm less flexible on this side. So you're going to see me do that. I'm pushing my right hand down on that right thigh because that part is not as flexible as my opposite side. So I'm going to help it out a little bit by sitting in the neutral elevated position, just straight up. And I'm going to, you saw me twist. So I'm going to twist. I was twisting out to really get that stretch. And then I came back and then pushed down with that right hand on that right leg to really release that inner thigh. And then also the right side of the lower back. See, again, I'm using that right hand to pull on the right foot to make sure my right side, even though it's not as flexible as my left, it's transitioning with my left and keeping up to maintain balance in all muscles. So I'm really feeling it on my right side in this pose. I'm back out, hands behind me, open up, breathe. Bring that oxygen into your body so the blood can push it to those areas. I have to give this stretch more time because I'm less flexible on this side. My left hamstring is less flexible, but my left side is more flexible than my right side. And that's just an imbalance that I've developed over the years of sitting in corporate chairs, and my flexibility going to shit. And the reason I'm doing these videos, I'm going to be doing a whole series on just all these stretches I do. I do them at least once a day. I'm going to post up, uh, try to post a video a week with me going through these series of stretches. And you're going to see as I go along how I bring my body into alignment. So right now, you're going to start seeing me doubling up on all of my deep stretches. I consider this to be a deep stretch because you're really pulling into one side and isolating one side and then really just stretching it out. So a good rule of thumb is double up on your stretches. Sit in neutral, sit straight up. Again, you can see me here leveraging the leg as a point of grip to really pull that back forward. You want to straight back as much as possible. Again, no hunchback of Notre Dame. And if you can't reach this point without hunching your back, you need to back up. And you can see here, if you just picture in your mind when I first did this stretch, me doing it the second time, you can see that I'm a lot more aligned. And now we're going to add in a side lunge into this stretch. And this is very hard in this position, and you don't want to overdo it. So you'll want to turn to the side, almost like triangle pose in yoga, but you're going to grab that right foot's going to grab the right hand's going to grab that right foot to pull your side through. Do the same thing on the left side. orient my feet. When I'm doing this again, I'm a lot more flexible now that I've done it once before. So I can move that right foot up the left leg to the knee to get a deeper stretch. And a bit of a backstory. Um, Back when I was a lot younger, mainly in my late up to my late 20s, I was able to do a full front split, side splits on both sides. I had a lot of flexibility, and I got that from dabbling in martial arts. I don't do any of that stuff now, so I'm not like some UFC fight bro training in the gym now. I, After I left that phase of my life, what stuck was the stretching routines, and any one of my friends and family, they can tell you that if you give me a good half an hour and there's nothing to do and I'm inside four walls, I'm getting on the floor and I'm stretching. So my goal is to get back to a point in my life where I can do those things. Like I really want that kind of ability back. Also, just to be a lot more healthy. Working in 9 to 5 office jobs really, kill that. Um, and also, I want to, get back into shape. So now we're gonna move into the front stretch that we did, the neutral stretch, but it's just on the ground. So after we stretched out both sides, you want to bring both feet in front of you and do what I'm doing here. Either grab your knees as far as you can go, grab your ankles or whatever, and really pull forward. The difference between this front stretch and the front stretch we did standing up is that you have the ground as a buttress. So now your legs can't go back. You can't like lock your knees to get more leverage to cheat a little. Your legs have to be straight. They're gonna be straight because the ground's not gonna move. Um, and all the stretch is going to go into all your hamstrings, your glutes. You're going to feel it in your calves, and you're going to feel it in your lower back, all the way up into your neck. So this is preventing you from, deviating in some way. So as I said, going back to neutral, do that front stretch standing up. This is a good way for you to gauge how far your how much progress you're making in each session. So as you can see here, I'm doing a full palm on the ground. Now, in the other times I did this in this video, you did not see me do fully palm the ground like that. You can see my back is a little bit more straighter. I can pull in my torso against my body a lot more. Now we're going to go ahead and do this pose. I don't know if this is called downward dog, I think, in yoga. This doesn't really have a name in martial arts. I think it's just downward dog. Into cobra pose, I believe. So when you stretch one way, you should compress the other way, maintain that balance. Remember, muscles are meant to compress, and to expand they contract. So you should also, do some compression routines as well in your stretching sessions. I think that's child pose, yeah. So you want to do that as well when you come out of that cobra pose. And if it's not child pose, please correct me, because I'm not a yoga aficionado. Then you want to do some raises with your torso on the ground. Really activate those muscles you stretched. Make sure that they remember that they're meant to be muscles. Just do a couple, do like 5. And now we're going to take one leg, put it across the knee of the opposite leg. And here I'm folding up my left leg. So what you want to make sure is with the hand on that side, my left hand, you reach through the gap that's created by both legs and you pull on that hamstring. This is going to pull the knee to the body, which is going to pull that foot and then activate the stretch on that inner thigh, that also the glutes, the lower back. I believe the IT band is somewhere in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this one is going to hurt. And then the other hand, on the right hand, you can pull as well on the same area or on another part of the leg. You're going to do the other side, folding up the right leg against the right knee or above the right knee. So here my left hand is on my shin. My right hand is through that hole that you make with the legs, pulling on the hamstring and then pulling up to give that right side a stretch. And that stretch, to me, that stretch hurts. That's for a couple of reasons. But anyway, so then you want to kind of do the same thing. But this time you want to sit the upper body up by pushing back and supporting yourself on both your hands behind you. And this is going to stretch the same area, but the stretch is going to be worse. So it's going to hurt. So make sure you only do this as much as you can. If it hurts too much, you can take that foot that's on the ground and move it away from the body to make the difficulty less. And then you can also leverage the heel. So if you bring the toes up and focus and use the heel only as a brace, that makes the stretch more deep. It makes it a harder stretch. So you can flatten out the foot to make the stretch easier as well. Stretch out our sides, move to one side, and then we're gonna bring on the outside leg that's not touching the ground, bring it across over. You can pull with one hand and then turn your upper body in the opposite direction, almost as if you're looking the other way. Do that for a couple seconds. In this video, you can't hear it because it's a voiceover, but on both sides when I did this, my entire back cracked. And it felt really good. This is a good way to crack that back. So now we're going to do a little bit of a runner's lunge. So you come forward almost as if you're doing a really deep front stance, or I think this is just runner's pose in yoga, and really get as deep as you can into it. You really want that back leg to be back so you feel the stretch on those lower abdominal muscles and also in the quad. And then for the leg that's the base on the left, you really want to feel it in the glutes. Then when you're done with that, you're going to rock back and be on that back knee. You can't see it here, but I'm on that right knee, extending out the left leg. Make sure you're very centered between both legs. And then what you want to do is with the chin, you want to push the chin toward the foot. That stretches out the back, keeps the back straight. And then do that for a couple seconds and then tilt your head down, which makes the stretch on that left hamstring more deep. Which sides? You get a different view. Come into that runner's pose. You start up on the feet. See how I'm on my toes? You want to start there. Then I'm going to drop that knee, as you see me do here, flatten out that back foot against the ground. You start feeling the stretch a lot more in that groin area and then on those lower abdominal muscles. If you can really go even deeper, you can put your hands on the ground like how you saw me put it there. Rock back, be on that left knee. Extend that right foot in front of you, that right leg. Make sure you're squared. Push the chin out toward the foot, which stretches the back. Come down a little bit, couple of centimeters. And then you dip the head forward to really stretch that back out and that front hamstring. So now we're going to do pigeon pose. And I usually like to start this from a runner's pose to get into it. Now, this stretch I need to work on because I'm not really good at it on either side. The muscles that a pigeon pose stretches are very tense on my body. So that's also another goal that I have is I want to make this stretch a lot easier. So you just lay down that front knee using your arms as support. Don't put all your weight on that knee. And then you bring it across your body. See how my left foot is across onto the right side like that? That's how you want to do it. That back leg should be back. And then you lean forward, you dip down with a straight back, bending at the hips. Here's it the other way. That right foot's going to go forward into that runner's pose just to set it up. And then you're going to see me very gently, while holding myself up with my arms, lay that knee down and bring that foot across. Since I'm less flexible on this side, with the pigeon pose, my right side cannot do pigeon pose for shit. So I really got to work on that right side. Bring the foot across, lay the knee down as comfortably as you can. This pose, if done wrong or done way too deep, too fast, you can injure yourself very easily. So only go as far as you're able to. I think my knee is barely on the ground. That's how much of a difference between my right and left that I have. Set torso down, breathe. Make sure that leg is pushed back, that other leg, and done. I gotta shave my chin itches. All right, now we're gonna do the front split. I like to use a leg stretcher that I got from Amazon. For anything in this video you're curious about, I'll have links in the bio section, so you can go through and click through on that to see if you want to buy it or just check it out. Feel free. And this thing extends, and then what you do is you put both the poles on the side onto your legs, and then you pull inward on that middle pole you see right there. This thing is a godsend. Not only is this my favorite stretch, but I love to use this cool little gadget to really get a deep front split stretch. And then also it helps you maintain balance so that way you maintain overall equilibrium, which is important. This stretch is very easy to establish a bias in the body with this stretch because since it's so intensive and a lot of people don't practice this, so a lot of people don't have a lot of flexibility with the Russian split or front split. You tend to pick up a lot of imbalance doing this stretch just naturally. Now, if anyone who's an advanced stretcher, if you're a gymnast, you're a martial artist or whatever, you're probably, oh, it's not that hard. But you're different. You have to understand that. The normal person, if they try to do this stretch, I'm going to say 7 times out of 10, they're going to end up doing something wrong to develop an imbalance. So as you see here, like I said, just put the 2 side poles for each leg, and then you're going to pull in with the center pole. And it's adjustable based on how tall you are, if you have a longer torso, shorter legs, longer legs, yada, yada, yada. You can adjust it. So I like to start out just doing neutral in this pose. And that means you just have the legs out on the sides, and then you're just focusing on proper back posture. That's what you want to do first with a front split. You don't want to do anything else. Don't be quick to pull forward, to touch the ground. Don't be quick to turn to the sides. You want to set yourself up mastering the neutral position for this pose first before you do anything. So just be able to sit in it, be able to Recognize your core. Your core has to not be crunched. Don't scrunch up your core here. Don't scrunch up your back. Don't torque your back. Don't hunch your back. You want your body to naturally get to a point where you can just sit upright as if you're sitting upright in a chair. And the stretch really doesn't matter. That's what you want to aim before doing anything else. Just be able to hold the base pose. Putting your hands behind you is a good way to leverage your natural uh, posturing ability in this pose with the leg stretcher for establishing that proficiency. You could also put your hands on your legs. The closer your hands are to the body, the more you can use that as leverage to maintain that base posture. And if you see at the on the leg extender, you see how that the point where all the different poles meet, it looks like it's tilted. Don't worry about that. It doesn't have to be straight for you to get a good, equal stretch. It's doing its job on its own. So, if anyone is interested in anything in this video besides the leg stretcher, I'm gonna put all the links in the bio and in the comments. I like to burn incense, so you see my incense holder, and then I'm burning some Egyptian incense. It's really nice, keeps the bugs away, keeps you nice and focused, good for meditation. And then my water bottle is from Costco. Same thing with the citronella, the candles from Costco, keep away the bugs. My headphones, got that from Amazon. I am a fan of around the neck speaker headphones. I do not like earbuds. I'm of the mind where I think they don't have good sound quality, and they a tend yeah, they tend to get dirty, and I would not let no one hold them. So now we're going to go to one side. So how you do that with the bar is you take the opposite hand and you put it in front of that pull bar, the middle bar. And this keeps the leg stretcher from moving forward and releasing the tension. So that middle bar is going to be pressing against that hand that you see that I have on the mat. See, you can see in this side also that I have the forearm in front of that to keep the bar from releasing tension while I lean to the side to get to target the hamstring and the inner thigh on the opposite legs. And again, only go as far as you can. If it's going to be a while, if you're a beginner, for you to even turn in any direction. That's why you got to focus on a neutral pose. So if you can actually turn first, make sure you can turn with that posture, and then get to the point where you can reach over and then reach towards the foot, lead with the chin to keep your back straight. I have to really focus on that right side. So I don't think this is bad. I think I'm still pretty flexible with the front split. I think I'm at about what is that at 150 degrees. But believe it or not, to go from 150 to 180, that's going to take me a while. That little 30 degrees can take months to get. I also have a Century 21 stretch chair, and I'm going to do a video where I show you guys how to use that to get a good front split. So now I'm going to do a forward stretch. And what you see me do there is I undid the fastener for the middle pole, and I turned the handle to the side so that way it doesn't poke me in the chest or the stomach when I'm doing this front lunge. So you want to hold on with both hands on the outside poles that touch the leg and pull yourself forward with a straight back. And when you do that front lunge, that is when you are really going to reap the benefits of the front split. And it's hard to do that, but what helps is this leg stretcher. It helps keep your legs in place while you pull forward. Make sure your back is straight. Double up on your stretches. So you're going to see me go into it again. I'm readjusting, making sure I got proper tension on the leg stretcher against my own legs. And then I'm also making sure I'm maintaining a good neutral base point for when I pull forward. I'm not creating a bias for one side. Since my right side is a little bit more stiff, I notice when I do stretches, I tend to bias toward my left side because it's easier for me to stretch on my left. Double up on the sides, holding that middle bar. And now to do a lunge like this, a real side lunge, with you reaching over, almost like tree pose, you want to hold the middle bar like that. So instead of the opposite hand being put in front of it to maintain tension, the hand on the same side you're stretching towards, you're just going to hold it. Again, coming back into that front stretch. You could even move the bar to the side if you want. As long as you hold the two poles that touch the legs at the same spot, equal on both sides. And now we're done. Our front stretch is done. We are done stretching. This completes the this session. Now, what you do after every front split stretch is you bring your feet in front of you back into butterfly pose, and then we're going to transition into like a clamshell pose. You have to do this after you do the front split stretch or the Russian split stretch because this helps your body maintain and also identify equilibrium. It helps maintain equilibrium, and it helps you identify if you've created an imbalance. And when you do this, the butterfly stretch, if you feel one side is a little bit more loose than the other, or maybe there's pain on one side or whatever, that means you overdid it, or you did it wrong. When you do this, your body should feel balanced. You should be able to comfortably reach the same point with both legs in this stretch. So right now I'm in the butterfly, which means the feet are closer to the body. I'm going to pull on those feet with both hands. I'm going to alternate both sides, holding my feet with one hand and pushing down on that inner thigh with on the other. Coming back to base, feeling out any imbalances I might have that I have to correct. Now, this brings the clamshell portion. You push the feet out away from the body, pulling yourself toward your feet with your hands, maintaining a straight back and leading with your chin. And that ends the session. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.